Hi guys, welcome back to Windsome Cottage Garden. My name is Hannah and I'm so glad that you decided to join me today. We're in the city and if I'm being honest, I don't really know where this video is going to go. Just in a little while, my dad, my sister Molly, and my brother Sean are actually on their way to help me mulch my yard. Before we mulch, we're going to go over my whole drip system in detail. It's been a couple years since I've actually dug up the lines. I put mulch down every year and slowly over time they kind of go down a little further. I do have slightly hard water as well, so it's time for me to dig those up, bring them to the surface, then assess the lines. I have a whole ton of tubing in case I need to change large sections, which I might need to do. In all honesty, when I first set up the system, I didn't really know what I was doing. And now I don't know if I'm an expert, but I do know what I'm doing most of the time. So I suspect there will be times I will also reassess how the lines were run and change them, especially because how I'm using aspects of my yard have changed since we put those lines in. So that's going to be on the docket. I have a couple of things I want to do before we mulch as well that make a bit of a mess. Like I need to trim my boxwoods in the front. I have some Dutch iris bulbs that, frankly, I should have probably planted a month ago. I don't know if they're even alive, but I'm going to get them in the ground. So I got to do that. And I have a couple of plants I need to move or plant. So like I have peony that we put in, I actually bought last year and it lived in its can all winter in a protected area. And now I need to get that in the ground. I have a hydrangea I need to move. I noticed in the front that there's this hosta that is completely engulfed by two hellebores. So I'm going to dig it up. It doesn't have enough space and we'll move that to the cottage. But so there's just little things that I need to do in preparation, including putting down fertilizer for the year. I am inside right now because it's kind of raining, like ever so slightly. Oh, maybe not even. It's supposed to be stopping. Well, if I'm being honest, it was supposed to stop 45 minutes ago. And I've decided I'm just going to go out in it, especially because I think they're all going to be here in about 20 minutes. So I would like to have started to make an attempt on the front yard. I am going to try and set you guys up on the porch, which is covered, to see what we can capture, but I'm not sure what will be captured. This is going to be a part 1 video. Where we do all the work. I'll talk about my drip system a little more in depth. We're going to dig up the hosta first, then we're probably going to prune my boxwood, and then I suspect I'll start digging up the lines. They shouldn't be as hard in the front because I did dig them up, not last year, but the year before, because it wasn't getting enough water, so we had to change my distribution plan. So I don't know if actually there'll be a lot of edits there, but I do need to get it set up and running and see if there's any punctures or anything I want to change. Yeah, so I'm going to get all that done and we'll see how much of it you'll be able to see from the porch. Okay, I've dug the lineup that is on the zone. It was a lot harder than I thought because there were some areas it was quite deep and the roots had grown over. But looks a mess. But now we can see all the lines. I also discovered that it kind of stops right there. So I have plants over there that need some water for the future. Next step is for me to go get my timer, hook it up to the hose and turn it on and see what kind of brakes we're working with. Okay, Molly and I have fixed the line everywhere except once. There was not much wrong with this. Everything was working, which I think this is probably the one that's the best shape. But one area I'm going to redo, and I'm going to explain it and kind of tell you what I do with my drip and then kind of give you an overview of the whole system while Molly starts on fixing it. We had the system come here, and then I had a black line go out to this tree, which is actually moving to the cottage this weekend. I no longer need a line that way. So instead, we're going to, and the other thing is the other line ended there. So we're going to do a straightaway here and then just one line of drip and connect it back in. And I think that should be enough for these snapdragons and iris. This is what it looks like. It's not the most straightforward thing because as I think I said earlier, when I first set it up, I didn't really know what I was doing. But a couple years ago, I came in and added some connection points. So it's like a grid. It works around all of the plants. Here. There you go. So now we're just going to staple it down, test it one more time, and then mulch. it look so nice and neat with the fresh layer of mulch. And better yet, all the drip is working, which is very exciting. And I also managed to get my boxwoods roughly the same size. Not perfect, but good enough. They need training. I only really started training them into spheres 2 or 3 years ago. So they have holes, which are slowly filling over time. But it means they just need a little more work before they're a nice ball. But they're getting there. This one I think is better. It probably could have been a little tighter. But retrospect, it's good enough for government work. We also ended up burying my path. There are some rocks that frankly need to be dug out. Oh, and I obviously should point out that the beautiful banshee iris have opened. They're always the first to go. They're one of my favorites. They just kind of provide a beautiful pop of purple in this area. I also have some of the ground covers we planted last fall. These were the ones that were marginal here. There's 3 that have come back. I think I planted 5. We'll give them a little more time, but 2 of them looks like they did not make it. Oh, and the cat's pajamas nepeta is slowly starting to wake up as well. But it makes the allium look beautiful. We still have some sweeping to do right here, but up until the steps is all done. We also ended up adding a line. This bed is in a bit of a rain shadow because I have this odd overhang. And I only had drip kind of in this front area, so we added one in the back. So hopefully the iris like better. There's still a lot more yet to do. So I'm going to say goodbye to you guys here because this next video is going to be somewhat similar in that we've already dug up all of the drip line in this area. I knew there was some damage in the back and that it was quite deep. I think the first zone we did had like 4 or 5 geysers. I'm about to go repair another one that had 2. And then we have to hook up the vegetable garden, which I know I cut it, but I don't remember where. So I think the best way to figure that out is by turning it on. So we'll do that, and that we're also going to redefine my lawn area a tiny bit because there's just one area that's really annoying to cut. I think I may have mentioned whether in this video or in a previous one. So we're going to do that and move the hydrangea that I have in a temporary space. That's what I'm actually going to go do next. So it's out of the way. We can mulch right there. So if you want to see that video, please make sure to like this one and subscribe and keep an eye out because that will be the next video you see. This channel documents my garden here in the city as well as our cottage garden, which we'll be going back to quite soon. But before we go back to the cottage garden and after we finish this mulching and drip extravaganza, I'm going to get to plant some vegetable gardens out, including my tomato plants. So you won't want to miss that. So make sure you're checking back and turn on notifications so you get notified whenever I post a video. I really appreciate you joining me today, and I can't wait to see you in the next one. Bye-bye.